David was 24, living in a small village tucked at the foot of a mountain. To anyone who looked from the outside, his life seemed simple and peaceful, working the fields during the day, returning home at night to the warm glow of an oil lamp. But inside, his mind was a storm. He was haunted by past mistakes, constantly replaying moments of regret, and almost immediately, his thoughts would leap to the future, filling him with fear and uncertainty. Night after night he lay awake, restless, unable to quiet the chaos in his head. His face grew pale, his smile had vanished, and even when he sat to watch the sunset, he felt nothing but agitation. A single question echoed within him: is there a place where I can truly find peace? One evening, as he sat outside his small home, David overheard villagers talking about an old woman who lived high up in the mountains. They said she was once a renowned therapist in the city, someone who had helped countless people find balance in their minds. Eventually, she left behind the noisy, crowded world and chose to live quietly in a mountain village, surrounded by nature. Yet, every so often, she would welcome strangers who came seeking her wisdom, offering guidance in the simplest yet most profound ways. Hearing this story, a spark of hope lit in David's heart. Maybe, he thought, this woman can help me escape this endless loop of worry. Without hesitating, he packed a small bag and set out for the mountains. The path was rough, winding, and often dangerous, but David pressed on, his heart clinging to one conviction: if he could meet her, he might finally find the peace he'd been longing for. Days passed. David climbed steep trails, crossed rivers, and walked through dense forests. At last, he arrived at the mountain village. The place took his breath away. Modest cottages lined the path, smoke curling from chimneys, the sound of children laughing echoing in the crisp air. Birds sang overhead, and the entire valley seemed wrapped in a gentle stillness. For the first time in years, David felt the world itself was inviting him to rest. At the end of the road, he found a small house draped in green vines. On the porch sat an old woman with silver-white hair, her eyes closed as though she were listening to the wind. Her face carried a calmness that seemed to radiate outward, filling the space around her. David approached carefully, bowed slightly, and said, "Ma'am, my heart is never at rest. I live tormented by the past, terrified of the future. No matter what I do, I can't find peace. Please, can you help me?" The woman slowly opened her eyes. They were deep and gentle, as if she could see right into him. She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she smiled softly and said, "If you truly want peace, I'll give you a small challenge." She disappeared inside her home and returned with a spoon. On it, she placed a fragile egg, its shell thin and unbroken. Handing it to David, she said, "Take this spoon, walk from here to the edge of the village and back. But remember, don't let the egg fall." David blinked in surprise but nodded respectfully. He carefully balanced the egg, drew in a deep breath, and began to walk. Suddenly, the village felt alive in ways it never had before. Children darted across the path, laughing and shouting. Dogs barked from nearby yards. Vendors called out, urging passers-by to buy their goods. Every sound, every movement could distract him, but David dared not look away from the egg. Step by step, he walked with careful focus, the spoon trembling slightly in his hand. Sweat rolled down his forehead. His heart raced in rhythm with each shaky step. Yet he pressed on, all his attention bound to the fragile shell before him. At last, he returned to the woman's porch. The egg was still there, whole and unbroken. Relief washed over him. Smiling, he said, "Look, ma'am, I did it. The egg didn't fall." The old woman's eyes gleamed with quiet approval. "You did well," she said, "but tell me, did you notice the children playing by the road? Did you hear the dogs barking? Or the calls of the vendors at the market?" David paused. Slowly, he shook his head. "No, I only saw the egg." The woman's smile deepened. Her voice was warm, steady, like the sound of a gentle stream. "That, my dear, is the secret of peace. When your mind is wholly focused on the present moment, there is no room left for regrets about the past or fears about the future. You just experienced it yourself. The peace you've been searching for, it has always been inside you." Her words landed like sunlight breaking through clouds. David's chest loosened, the heavy fog of worry beginning to lift. He realized he had spent years searching for peace outside himself, wandering in circles, when it had always been within reach, in every breath. Every step, every moment lived fully in the now. Overcome, he bowed deeply, gratitude shining in his eyes. The woman simply nodded, as though peace was never something she gave him, but something she had only helped him uncover. That evening, as David walked back through the village, the world seemed transformed. The laughter of the children was no longer a distraction but a melody. The barking dogs, the chatter of the market, these sounds were no longer noise, but the rhythm of life itself. Even the wind weaving through the bamboo groves felt like a song written just for him. For the first time in years, David smiled, a real smile. One that came not from escaping life, but from embracing it. He knew now that he no longer had to be chained by the weight of his past or the uncertainty of his future. He had learned how to live in the present, where peace had always been waiting for him. And from that day forward, David carried the lesson like a hidden treasure, letting it guide every step of his journey.